pain, like for some reason breaks and goes right through it.
How random did that seem?
And right through her heart almost.
Oh my God, that's like so profound and sad and tragic.
So I was sad. This conversation is bringing me to so many. There's so many moments of tragedy in our lives. It's true now that I think about it, and like they really hurt at the moment, and then it's true, you get through it, but if it's really really intense, that's the thing. It's how do you do that? That's the thing. It's also like you think about it, the amount of pain we can take is actually pretty extreme.
I'd like you to tell me of a time that you truly loved somebody or something and you experienced loss.
The one moment that comes to mind that I've been thinking about was my first like romantic love, like the first woman that I was like, wow, I would like to be with this woman, and I was madly in love with this woman, and it was just, I got wrapped into it. I was totally kind of, it was like all I could see, and it was my first time, my first experience. So when, after 2.5 years, when I think I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I know that I think at some point she started to see someone else or something. There was a moment, and I I do remember being in my room. I lived in a different warehouse at the time, and there was a moment, I can't remember exactly what it was, but felt like I was having a heart attack. I really felt like I was like, I can't remember if it was something that happened, but I had to lay down, and it just threw up in the world that I was in. I had made her everything, so it made me seem like everything was worthless, and like I was worthless, and that yeah, it wasn't good. So that was like one. That was pretty major for me because it took me, in hindsight, it took me years to recover from that, and because I was I had really opened myself and put myself there. And also, I was only 21, so there was a lot I didn't know about myself, and that I assumed, it was the end of the world when it wasn't. Like, as I discovered, through life, because I'm still here.
So let's talk about that for a moment, because it was a long-term thing and it caused you a lot of pain and you had to go through self-discovery and healing. What or who helped you heal and learn about yourself and go through that transition?
Well, I would say I feel that I was lucky enough that had chosen to study art, and that I'd already told myself, I'd already gone through this kind of self-revolt where I was not going to go work for a big corporation and make a lot of money. I had a proper education, and I did well in school, and I initially was gearing myself up to do like sort of a professional career. And then when I chose art, like all the arts and whatnot, it was a very extremely scary moment also, and I had already gone through that and embraced that and gone through all the madness that entailed when I got to her. So that helped me a lot, because the process of the decision to do art or whatever is really, for me, like it was so undefined, and I was already having to really ask myself all the time, like, what the heck are you doing, So it just threw an extra monkey wrench in there, and maybe it helped me. What helped me initially was, people, like you're saying, and for me it was going out, and since I had just turned 21, it was going drinking, and mostly like, yeah, just trying to learn how to socialize with people by going to bars and stuff, which um, sort of worked, but I took it to an extreme. I went and I eventually got a job as a truck driver, so I could explore America and what it was like to work. And when I would make money, and then when I would quit every few months or so and go to Europe and travel, and I would just spend all my time like drinking and stuff and getting into adventures, and that really helped me a lot. Just being pain. I mean, being in the pain, like being, but just being out there and uh, I don't know. It opened me to dance. Was the other. That was the really strange thing that came out of it. I think was the. At the time, I was a painter, painting and drawing. I looked at myself as I'm a painter. I draw, and so I was really disciplined about that. Draw every day, and I have to like make something of myself. So when I turned to the socializing and drinking and whatnot, although I would doodle in there and do portraits, it wasn't the same thing as being in the studio and being more focused. So at some point, I heard James Brown. I remember I was in Berlin at the time, and I was at this bar, and I heard James Brown like I'd never heard James Brown before, and I started dancing, and the music. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Like it was perfect. It really, really helped me to hear him like in his I don't know what you would call that when he's on, the soul when it comes out. And so I really embraced that, and I started I went from alcohol to going to places where there's dance and really exploring movement and dance. And I would do it alone. I didn't care if people were watching. In fact, it was better if people watch a little bit. I don't, it's nice. And that was the interesting thing that came out of that was dance. Because dance is immediate.
So is that was a moment that started you on this path of what you are now doing today, how you're incorporating all these different
I
art
think,
forms?
yeah, definitely in a big way. Because before, I mean, I was already doing theater backstage work. So there was some elements were already there, but definitely the performance aspect, yes, because I was very shy, and I could get myself to be in front of people, but I wasn't really comfortable about it. And so the dance eventually led me, when I came back to go, I hadn't finished my degree, and I went back to finish a degree. I studied film as opposed to just painting and drawing. I was like starting to think of movement and how to capture it, and that got me to studying acting and taking theater lessons, like acting, and that was extremely challenging because in theater, you go right towards uh, your where you're uncomfortable, and so that was really, 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 really good. I think that was maybe the most healing thing I've done is taking theater lessons, because I mean, I know I said it was dance, see, so they're all involved, but theater helps so much because you're speaking and you're interacting with people. And then the particular teachers I had were, they chose like sort of like games and interactions that they would set up where we would do things that would make me where you'd be really uncomfortable, but that would get you to react. So you couldn't think and block and screen things and screen what you're going to say and all this kind of stuff. So that helps you really, because you get into you are forced to show what you're in, and actually, and people love it. People are like, that's genuine, or like they want that, and they resonate also with the pain they have. And then, so then you're sort of working someplace together. you know. So that's what, like, that has helped me to get to here, yes.
And when you did that, what I'm hearing, the response from other people was a positive experience where everybody could relate and understand it.
Yes, yes, that's a good way of expressing it, you know, because the drinking, like, that's the thing, is uh, there's something about like getting out of yourself that I find to be really important because it gets so hard. It's so, like, my brain, I don't, probably everyone's the same way. It's like, it's so powerful that it's like, it'll make me sit and like stare at a wall, you know, and I'll be sitting there thinking about stuff and I'm getting nowhere. I'm just in this turmoil, you know. It's not meditation really. It's like, it's more of like it's almost the opposite of meditation, but like in this mental place where you're just in a circle, you know. And so I find that play, which is play, the various forms of play, which can be, you know, we like to call it art, but it could be so many things, you know, like, as long as it's looked at in this way that's you're active, you can't, you're out of that. You're out of you're no longer just sitting here, and if it has to be, I don't know what you know, the alcohol and stuff. No, it doesn't help. I mean, it was so entertaining. I will say that. Like, I've had so much entertaining moments by being with these like crazy people that are lost, you know, and I also enjoy being around people in pain. I found that I've liked to try to bring people with, you know, bring people along, like try to get them out of it, and that's that can you know, when there's drugs and alcohol, that's the problem. Is like it gets like you can only go so far. They have to get out of the drugs and alcohol in order to come with you, because otherwise you end up with them. You know, like, depending on which substance it is. You know, some are easier than others, but some people you have to leave them. You almost have to leave them behind, or you will, like I found, or you're gonna like, I can't handle the madness. You know. But the art we can all play in. You can be high doing art, but really, like we're talking about, you actually want to be present because that's when you're in the fire, and like, and that's where we actually probably all really like it. Is like in the realness, you know, be it joy or probably pain too, because it's, if you're expressing your pain, you're getting it out there, and it feels so good, you know, to, and then other people also, then they tell you your thing, and you're like, that's the other thing with us speaking here. I realized that my pain is nothing. We're talking about this, not comparing pain, but you know, when you hear other people's pain, you're like, like, why do I think I'm in pain? Like, I'm experienced nothing compared to some of these people. So it helps to hear their story, because then you're like, okay, wait a minute, I can do this. You know, like, let me get a handle on myself here for a second. So I know I've gone off on a tangent again.
No, tell me more about the work you're doing now, because I know you're doing some really fascinating things in your life right now. So can you share that with me?
Well, I'm in a state of transition actually,
Okay.
because I am working I'm creating with this theatrical group, Lucent Dossier, performing and doing like set design, um, um, and it's a group project. So really, you know, what's great is it deals a lot with what we talked about, because we have to work together. And then for me, this group, like compared to just doing theater, like redoing Shakespeare or redoing classical plays, like, we're not redoing anything, we're making stuff up, and it's so, the language is so strange sometimes, like sometimes it doesn't even resonate for me, and and you know, I will not be in those pieces, or like, or I'll observe, and I'll observe other people go like expressing the way they do, you know, and sometimes I can pull things out of it, other times maybe not, but I like it because it's so multidimensional in that sense of like different languages. So I do like that very much. What I have discovered though by observing myself for a long time as well in this process is that the painting and drawing I was talking about that I started with is a very important language to me. It's a really personal language because it's me communicating a lot with myself. Like I tend to I can paint like live and all this and be social, but really like I find that for me painting and drawing I like it I kind of like it on my own, you know, and it has to do it is staring at that wall, like I was talking about. But instead of just staring at that wall now, I'm gonna like I'm gonna do something, and so I'm actually it is meditation. There's like there's something going on, and you're of course thoughts are coming through, but at the same time you're trying to either capture something or deal with it in whatever the two-dimensional language you've decided is, and it's extremely personal. So I miss that, and I'm trying to get myself to come back to that because I feel um, it'll hone my what I am trying to do. Because quite frankly, like I don't necessarily know what I'm trying to do. I'm like, I'm here. I definitely enjoy being in the moment. I've decided to embrace being in the moment and creating within this language of this theater and whatnot. And I'm able to make a living doing that, etc. However, this world is like, it's so much more, you know, there's just so much going on. You're always, how to even say it, like how can you really be in it, you know, you really want to be in it, and like not like how are you not part of the problem, and what does that mean? Because it's so odd to think about yourself as like part of the problem, not part of the problem. What is the problem? You know, is it the environment? Is it the way we relate? Is it, these are all things that are like in this picture that I'm in, that we're in here. So everything we've talked about the pain, you know, and learning, the way to bring that in is to, you know, I feel like I need time. I need to keep doing my work and be in the moment. At the same time, I need time to also reflect, and deal with myself, and then look at what I've done and see what it tells me. Because my paintings and drawings, like unlike when I'm copying, or if I do my own work, like I can look at it later and it has meaning for me. Like I know like I remember certain little things, like the way I might have done something. And it takes me back to a thought that I might have had at that moment. And then I can judge myself. Like, it's kind of like that. Is it judging? I don't know if that's the right word, but I can, it's like leaving a little marker or something on a trail. And then I can be like, well, you know, maybe that handhold doesn't really work. Or maybe it does. So, you know, am I going to go in that direction? Or am I going to like look for a different tool or something to get to what I am trying to get to, like to this feeling of satisfaction and like of acting in fulfillment in some kind of way, whatever that means, you know. So yeah, I had a moment, you know, there was another particular moment that I was thinking that went beyond to get other guys, and we went to this island 400 miles south of here, 400 miles out, and we went through during a storm. I had never sailed in my life, and these other two guys were pretty hard. They were ex-military guys, and I'm happy they were there because they taught me. But we took turns, you know, we'd do like 3-hour shifts, and sometimes I'd be up there on my own once I got to handle the stuff in pitch darkness, and like the wave, like we were in like a big storm for more than a week. And at night, the only thing I would see is a compass glowing, and kind of glows like this little bit of area. That's it. We had no lights on, and it was a sailboat, and then it's cloudy. There's no, you can only hear the water coming. That's the wave coming, you know, like, and then it's like the spray and all this. And I had all this time to think about. I was up there on my own, freezing my butt off, and I was like, wow, I didn't say goodbye to this person. I didn't check in with my parents. All these people that I totally just was like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna go on my little adventure here, you know. And it occurred to me that I was like, if I get swept off this boat right now, like by the time they get up, if they even hear me, because it's so loud out there and the sound doesn't carry, like they would never even see me anyway, because we'd be like, I'd fall in and probably go this direction, the boat would go over there, like, and I was like, wow, that's so crazy. I had all this time to think about it. I was like, I'm not even gonna die. I'm just gonna be out there floating around in the cold water, like pissed, really, because like I'll just be, you know, it's not like you're gonna get hit or anything. There's just water. Like you're just gonna be floating around in there. And what hit me was like was that it would be awesome if a creature or some person came up and just, if I died, would look in my eyes as I'm going, so that they would help me like go across, and I'd be like, okay, cool, you know, like there's this creature here, or like whatever, like some kind of love of some sort, and that'll help. That seemed, I was really stunned that I felt that, because I remember feeling it, and I was like, that's such a weird thing that I just felt that, and I wrote it down because I thought it was odd that like that's something that would work, you know. If you have nothing, at least if you have someone who is, and since then I've learned it's compassionate, is if there's someone who, they don't need to talk, but they are just there. And when you have, or even an animal too, anything that is there, then maybe that can help you through your moment. I know the next time I'm going to be in pain, it's going to be just as painful as it was the first time. And it's going to suck, you know? And I definitely go through my pains. And it's true that it doesn't really, it kind of helps. What we're saying will help as long as I remember it. And as long as I challenge myself to be in it, in the fire, and on my toes, and laughing a little bit, and like, you know, and if I'm gonna decide to fall apart, then I should do it in some graceful way, I guess, or like enjoy it, or be, you know, I don't know. It's I'm not really sure about, you know, the pain. That's the thing. Can you make your peace with it? Like, you know, it's so easy to say, but I can't imagine, like, if someone, I think for me the hardest would be like, if my body, if I'm sick, or if I'm really, really hurt or something, even with like like in a mental way, that like I can no longer get a hold of myself, that would be really, really intense, you know, like, because then I'd have to try to figure out a way to remember everything that we're talking about, and like fool myself somehow into having a good time. Like, as soon as you fool yourself, then you can start, you know, you can start moving, and like stop staring at the wall. Like,
You shared some amazing things, and do you feel you're ready to go back out there and give love another? Are you willing to risk it again, knowing how much pain you can feel?
for sure. Absolutely, because I want to. It's like way too mundane if I don't. And I know I'm saying that, so we'll leave it to be seen if I'll actually let myself be that vulnerable. But there's so many different ways of being vulnerable, you know? So the love one, I know I'm game for. But there's others, you know, love is just one. Like the one dealing with like certain elements of maybe courage, you know, and like facing things in life, you know, because really if I'm truly up to what we're saying, then I'm completely fearless, and I'm like, and I can do anything. And so if that's the case, then I should be like harnessing, and I should be like out here like, what am I trying to do? Let's make it happen, you know? Maybe you're never there, you know, because there's always different things. It's like so many different things going on in life at the same time, different problems, people, and then, you know, but yes, I'm down. I'm wanting to challenge myself to be as much involved as I can be, and yes, absolutely.
So if you have one thing to say to anybody about your journey and about what you got out of it and what you want them to know, let's say there's somebody in that pain right now, the one thing that you would want to say to them, if they were that person that you said, that they're drowning and you could be that person for them before they go under, what would that message be?
I think they're. It's. Well, first of all, I'd say breathe. Take a breath. Take a deep breath. Like for reals. Like really, really, really allow yourself to chill out. You know, and like it just sounds so boring. That's the thing. It doesn't sound, you know, exciting, but I really think that laying down or, you know, or taking a moment to really stop and close your eyes and don't worry. Just do not worry. Do not worry and breathe for a little bit, and then, you know, play games. That's the thing. Play games. Allow yourself to find ways to tease yourself back into onto the playground, you know. Like go like third grade or second grade, like, you know, that's what I would say. It's like whoever this person is in front of me, that's like, it's so easy to say. 'Cause it's not right to go say that to somebody who might have gone through something so much worse than me. But you almost want to say like, what were you like? Remember where first grade? Okay, huh? Second grade. What were you doing? How was most of your days? They were comprised with trying to goof off, right? Exactly. That's what we should be remembering, that we're so like caught up in trying to get what, you know, and like we have to like that. No, that's okay. It's okay, but let's play too. It'll help us chill out, and it'll probably help them like calm, like just be like at it again, so you can face whatever it is that's, because you're gonna have to face whatever it is. You gotta like definitely embrace it, and embrace and think of yourself as, you know, some kind of a warriors. Like it's not a warrior. It's like it's beyond that. Think of yourself as some kind of a life force or an energy force where you're like you're gonna cruise through, you know, to something else. You're gonna, you know, to a warm moment, whatever it may be, an exciting moment, um, just a different moment. Something that gets you out of your spot. Like there's got to be a way that you can play around and get out of there for a little bit and give yourself a freaking break, you know. there's work. The other thing is there's like we have to work. I think is what the work. I don't want to make it sound bad, but like it's not easy. It's not easy on this planet. My observation has been that it's gonna be difficult, and that doesn't have to be a depressing thing. It means that we have to get up off our asses and like, you know, do stuff like help other people too. You know, like that'll make you feel so good. I have to tell myself this too. Like, you know, if you're blocked on yourself, go help someone else, and then maybe that you'll feel good. You'll be doing stuff, and then maybe they can snap you out of it. And we got to snap out. That's what it is. Snap out of it. So that's what we got to do. Snap out. Like. But man, is it? Yeah, I know it's not easy. Yeah. Hey, love story. This is Rajiv from Lucent Dossier. I've loved and lost. Is that what it was? I was like, I too. That's it. I too. I knew there was something missing. I was like,
Okay, you loved and lost as well.
hey, love story. This is Rajiv from Lucent Dossier, and I too have loved and lost.
You got the martini shot.
Now,
The martini
I'm
shot?
not the cameraman or director or anything, but I say that's a wrap.